Hello, dogs and humans. This is Making Bacon Pancakes, a podcast dedicated to watching and analyzing every episode of Adventure Time. This is my first time watching the show, but I do know some things about it, including most of the major character names, many of the songs, and a few of the plot points. So this is not a spoiler-free podcast. You have been warned. This is also not really meant to be a reaction series. It is first and foremost an analysis podcast, with the obvious caveat that my analysis can't factor in anything I don't know yet, so I may come to conclusions that are incomplete or outright wrong, which in my opinion is part of the fun. Without further ado, I invite you to come along with me, because it's time for an adventure. Today's first episode is episode 5, the Enchiridion. So one of the main questions this episode is asking is what it really means to be righteous. We get a couple answers out of Finn's quest for the Enchiridion. Firstly, there is his sensitivity. Despite the fact that his emotional reaction to the illusory deaths of the old ladies appears to cause the deaths of more old ladies, Finn is nonetheless lauded for having that reaction at all. In this specific situation, such a reaction could be argued to be a weakness, but according to Manish Man the Minotaur's criteria, Finn's sensitivity here helped prove his righteousness. Secondly, there is his resourcefulness in stealing the dollar from the ogre's pocket, using it to fly, and then forcing the ogre to cough Jake up. Thirdly, there is his kindness, as he returns the dollar to the ogre despite what the ogre did to Jake, which Jake himself praises as righteous. And lastly, there is his moral core, as he chooses to kill an evil heart monster thing, but refuses to kill a quote-unquote neutral ant. These are all well and good as definitions of righteousness go, but I'm most intrigued by the last one because of what it implies about Finn's character. The sorcerer who sent Finn to the brain world said that an aspect of his personality would be revealed that he was not entirely aware of, but which aspect? Surely Finn is already fully aware that he would not kill a creature who is not evil, so then what is going on here? To me, it is interesting that Finn accepted the sorcerer's word for who was evil and who was not. It is laudable that he did not kill the ant, to be sure, but he still killed the heart monster, which was not actually doing anything particularly evil or wrong, based solely on another person's word that the heart monster was completely evil and deserved it. That is a potential weak spot in Finn's quote-unquote righteousness that it is possible the show may come to explore later on down the line, and perhaps that is what the sorcerer was referring to when he said he would show Finn something he did not yet understand about himself. Now, the question I really want to ask about this episode is, was any of this actually legit? Because frankly, I'm seeing a few holes in this supposed righteous quest. Firstly, there's the Enchiridion itself. I mean, an Enchiridion is just a handbook. And the one in this episode seems like it's just a manual on how to be a hero and kiss princesses and that sort of thing. Pretty pedestrian stuff. Secondly, the quest seems really easy to complete, even in a way that matches Manish Man's definition of righteousness. The Keeper claims that everyone figures out how to open the gates, and honestly, Finn's reaction of being upset that old ladies are being killed because of him seems like a pretty typical response to old ladies being killed because of you. I don't know what usually happens in the brain world, since I assumed the test Finn faced was tailor-made for him, but even then, it was hardly much of a challenge to his worldview. The only thing that seemed actually difficult in this adventure was dealing with the ogre, but I also can't imagine Finn is the only one who ever got past it. I mean, he doesn't seem to be a particularly clever ogre, as ogres go. So, is the Keeper's claim that no one who enters ever leaves reliable? Is Manish Man's evaluation of Finn as the most righteous hero he's ever seen reliable? Is this actually a meaningful quest, or did Princess Bubblegum just set it up to give Finn something to do? Because I do find it odd that we find out at the end of the episode that Princess Bubblegum knows Manish Man and has been trying to get a peek inside the Enchiridion for years. To me, it seems like Princess Bubblegum kind of misrepresented the nature of this adventure to Finn. That it wasn't actually some great quest, rather that she was tricking him into doing an inconsequential errand for her. Not maliciously, mind you, it reads to me more like she saw an opportunity to get a peek inside the Enchiridion and figured that Finn could have a little fun along the way, like she's adding a hamster ball to his enclosure or something. Which, I mean, you couldn't really blame her if that was the case. I don't think I've ever seen a fictional character who needs a few hamster balls added to his enclosure more than Finn. Today's second episode is episode 6, The Jiggler. So on a basic level, this episode is essentially about why you shouldn't just grab a random wild animal you find out in the world and take it home to live with you. Finn and Jake know absolutely nothing about the Jiggler. They take it home to satisfy their own selfish desires to see it dance, and it literally blows up in their faces. They have no idea how to take care of it, and in the end, they must let it go and reintegrate it into its mother's care. In some ways, this is quite a disturbing episode, as Finn and Jake urge the Jiggler to dance until all its energy is spent, and then try to feed it just so it can dance some more. The Jiggler becomes an object to Finn and Jake, whose purpose is to perform. For all of Finn's talk of babies and parenting this episode, Finn and Jake treat the Jiggler less like a child and more like a court jester. In light of this, I'm intrigued by the bit about the Jiggler eating drawings. Finn and Jake are exploiting the Jiggler for its capacity to produce art in the form of dance, and the Jiggler consumes their art in return. Similarly, the musical art Finn produced in the beginning of the episode was only made possible through swallowing a computer, through the literal consumption of another. Jake's fear of the Jiggler eating the drawing of him is a funny bit, but I wonder if it doesn't speak to some deeper anxiety that one's identity can be wrapped up in art that depicts you, or art you produced, and that for someone to mindlessly consume such art is to consume a part of you in turn. Jake can eat the drawing of himself, but for someone else to do it is to eat away at Jake himself. Just like how the Jiggler can dance for itself or its mother, but for Finn and Jake to consume and exploit its dancing for their own pleasure is to push it to the brink of death. Yet, even so, it is art that the Jiggler produces that tells Finn and Jake where to find its mother. Art is not inherently draining to produce. It can be beautiful. It can be joyous. It can connect us to others. It can say the things we don't know how to speak aloud. But when we are exploited by others for our art, or in the name of making art, it can destroy us. That's all for today. If you'd like to reach out to me, whether you want to send me hate mail for my opinions about children's cartoons, or you want to appear on the podcast to discuss Adventure Time or another cartoon you like, you can email me at dominoboonchoipod@gmail.com. I also have a Patreon, link in the description below, where you can get videos 2 weeks early, as well as exclusive access to monthly animated movie discussions. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.